On this episode, we revisit one of our most popular episodes ever, The Cost of a Vacation, and we break down the 2022 costs. Today is May 13th, 2022. This is episode 460 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, go on and head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you hit subscribe, you will get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Using premium coffee beans roasted by their artisan roast master, Expedition Roasters brings a passion for art and story to bring you an immersive experience like no one else. Visit msmfriends.com to brew your happy place. And then, if you're getting ready to plan your next Disney or Universal vacation, looking to go on a cruise or, travel to any of the places that we're about to talk about in this episode, head to mainstmagictravel.com, fill out a form for a free quote. Our travel services are completely free to you. Before we get into today's episode, I have to give a shout out to Ariel, who I hope is listening. She said she would. I had to go to the dentist this morning. I have not been in longer than I would like to admit. I was very, very anxious. I was very, very nervous. She was my dental hygienist, checking everything out, and she was absolutely incredible. And I came in and was going to take a lot more time than I think they allotted me for. And the dentist was solo that day this morning, so he's running around a lot. So by the time I was waiting for him, had about a 20 or 30 minute wait. She didn't get up and run out of the room. When I am nervous or anxious, I talk a lot. And she was so nice and sweet and sat in there the whole time with me, talking with me, asking questions. We laid out each other's life stories, I think, pretty much.
Aww.
And she was great. I like to know what's happening in stuff like that. So when she was explaining the x-rays and all to me and pointing stuff out, she did it in such a manner that I could understand. It wasn't like a bunch of medical.
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. So Ariel, thank you so much. When I do come back for some work, unfortunately, she won't be. I tried to get an appointment the day she was working, but I could not. So anyway, I did want to go ahead and say that, and I do hope she's listening.
Yeah, and happy Friday the 13th.
Ooh. That's scary. I would think that Kaylin is probably super excited. Does she even know that it's Friday the 13th?
I need to say something to her.
We are actually recording after 8 o'clock on Thursday evening, which is not something we usually do.
Nope.
But we couldn't even hold this off for Friday morning because you have to go to work on your off day and you have a nail appointment and we got to clean and get ready for Kat and Michael, who are coming to visit us before we head to Disney.
The only reason I'm headed to work is because a client's poor child cut half of her hair off. So
Did you send you a photo? I take it you didn't show me. I would like to see it.
Yeah, and it I gotta fix it, and it's gonna be short. Woo-wee.
You should do a before and after, and then you could use it in marketing, and you could call it Rhonda's Restoration Services.
No.
Or something. That would be funny. So last time we did this episode, it actually aired on October 25th of 2019.
Okay.
But what I had done, and I'll preface this now with thank you so much for being here, Rhonda, and having some conversation, because I'm probably going to control a lot of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I don't always, according to some people, but I had gone back almost 2.5 years ago now, almost 3 years ago, and I had gone through all this stuff, and the whole premise originally was, and it's truer now than ever, is people are saying Disney is most expensive day ever, right? We want to debunk, is Disney really the most expensive day ever? Now, what we ended up doing in the end is we're going to rank by total cost of this trip, but we're also going to rank on cost per hour, because the one thing that I don't think people understand when they're saying most expensive day ever, Disney's expensive, and it is. We're not going to say it's not.
Correct.
They're not thinking of the overall value you get in the end.
Right.
You know, and you'll see what I mean because we actually break down every trip by hour of why you're there for that trip.
Right.
And that'll make more sense. But what we did back in 2019 was I planned ahead to June 9th and 10th, just one night. June 6th and 7th, one night of 2020. And this is for a family of 4. And it's going to be, no travel is included in these pricing because you're coming from all over the place.
Correct.
Right. So we just, that can't be even, and didn't do like a rental car, anything like that. It is
because like I said in the past episode, if we have somewhere like Orlando, which will be Disney World, you know, we live in Orlando. We have y'all amazing listeners who live all over, not only the United States, we've got Canada and UK and I think Australia, correct?
Oh,
so and thank y'all so much. And Jeremy, thank you because I wouldn't have done any of this research. So thank you.
Well, of course. And was easier this time is that we're matching almost, again, apples to apples.
Okay.
So we picked all the same 8 locations.
Okay.
We picked all the same 8 events. Even kept it to the same restaurants.
Okay.
The same restaurant items. So this time I really just had to go back and re-research to see what the cost difference was. But originally, I think this whole thing, I don't know, this whole thing probably originally took me 6 to 10 hours easy. This time it probably took me about 2 or 3. So much easier this time around. But what we're going to do is we are going to do a hotel. And I went and looked at the hotel for our specific dates at whatever their rack rate was, basically at a lowest deal. I list the parking, but I'm not including the parking in the price because, again, you may or may not have a car, and I don't want that to fudge the numbers. I also kind of list the parking price when I can, just so you can compare to what Disney and Universal are charging, which, you know, we were one of the people, one of the groups that did not like the fact that they were going to start charging hotel parking.
Yeah.
But when you hear like what they charge in New York, you're like, whoo, I'm glad Disney's not in New York. We went ahead and did lunch. For every lunch restaurant, we picked a bar/grill style of restaurant. Mm-hmm. We are going to, just so that we can do this cost per hour, we're going to allow 45 minutes for our lunch.
Okay.
The kids are going to split a meal.
Okay.
It is hard to find kids' meals in online menus often, especially with price.
Okay.
And so I thought it was easier to say, let's just keep it even. The kids are going to split a meal. We're going to go ahead and use the applicable state tax on food, which I looked up for every state. And then we're going to add a 20% tip.
Okay.
Okay. Just because that seems to be pretty standard. For dinner, we selected a steakhouse or signature style restaurant. Allowed 70 minutes, a little more time to hang out and all. Kids are still going to split. Applicable tax as well, 20% tip. And then you'll notice for all of these, like for most of the lunches, we selected a salad and a burger and then something similar for the kids. We selected similar drinks. You're drinking wine again in this scenario.
Oh, I don't want wine.
Because I didn't want to trade it up for liquor drinks, which tend to be a little more expensive.
Yeah.
In the events, a couple things we had to switch for this one. So, for example, when we get to the concert, obviously that tour is still not going on, so had to switch that up.
Okay.
We're even going to talk at the end what the percentage increase in cost is. Inflation, average U.S. cost of inflation over the 2 years that spans between us doing this is 11.7%.
Okay.
So we'll actually go ahead and go through that.
Okay.
Rhonda, time for you to get involved. What is the very first place that we are heading and what event are we doing?
Well, we are going to head to New York City and we are going to go see The Lion King on Broadway.
Yeah. So when we did this last, we went to see Frozen, theoretically.
I wish this was real.
I know. And Frozen is currently not on Broadway. It is touring across the country. And The Lion King is going to be on Broadway in June. And there is a 2 p.m. show on June the 10th.
Wow.
Selected orchestra seating. When we get to some other events that have selected seating, I tried to keep them again in a similar style area, orchestra or first or second section style area to whatever the stage or anything may be. And for 4 tickets to go see The Lion King, $1,040.20.
Okay.
This is up from $803
Woo!
just 2 years ago. So you are looking at over a $200 increase.
Yes, you are.
The length of the show is 140 minutes.
Okay.
So everywhere we're going to need a place to stay, right?
Oh, of course.
And again, I try to get hotels that would be similar. Like I wasn't going to do, something real fancy in New York and then go somewhere else and do the Holiday Inn Express or a Motel 6. So I tried to keep them pretty close. What hotel are we staying at for this hypothetical trip?
We are going to stay at the New York Marriott Marquis.
I know I mentioned this last time when we did the show. I believe that's where you and I stayed when we went to New York so many years ago. I mean, close to 20 years ago, I think now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we paid.
No.
But a renovated deluxe room. They all have been renovated since 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
With 2 double beds.
Double beds.
$513 all in for the night. That is up from $480 2 years prior. Not horrible.
Okay.
Parking used to be $65. How much is it now, Rhonda, for overnight parking?
A whopping $95.
That's insane.
That's $100. That's pretty much $100 parking.
I remember almost 20 years ago, I think we stayed for like 2 or 3 nights, them saying, oh, well, also, this is going to, because we drove up from Baltimore.
Yeah, we did.
Them saying, this is going to be your parking. And I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Insane. Parking in New York is nuts. Where are we going to eat our lunch that day, Rhonda? Probably before the show.
We are going to go to Lily's Craft and Kitchen.
So first, we're going to select an appetizer. And I hope you guys like pretzels because there's a lot of them because I wanted to keep things as even as I could. So a hot baked pretzel, $11, up $1 from 2 years ago.
Well, that's not bad.
For the entree, an avocado salad, $17, up $1.
Okay.
A crab cake burger, sign me
that's
up.
That's right.
$20.
You weren't going to let me have
I know, I was not going to let you have any in the previous episode. So up $1, create your own burger for the kids, $15. That's up $1.
Okay.
The biggest changes was that your Pinot Grigio went from $11 to $14.
Okay.
And my Moscow Mule went from $12 to $15.
Okay.
Again, as we go through the menus, I made substitutions as needed. I was actually really shocked how many of these menus are exactly the same from 2.5 years ago. Because remember, I was doing this research in 2019.
Yeah.
In October. So in 2.5 years, a lot of these menus haven't changed at all.
Wow.
Which I found very surprising, especially with different food shortages. And
yeah.
What really would have been interesting
Absolutely.
to do, and I don't know if all these online menus would have been updated, is if we had chicken wings as the appetizer because there's a chicken wing shortage right now. And I wonder how that would have affected.
There really is.
Yeah, because prices are going way up on chicken wings.
Think we could sell ours in the freezer?
We have a batch. If anybody's looking for some, you can hit us up. So the total for dinner, which includes the tax and the tip, is for lunch, $119.23. That is up from $107 2 years prior.
And that's with tip and everything, right?
Yes, that's tip and everything. So again, you're talking a lunch in New York City at $119. I will never forget when you and I were there and we walked into TGI Fridays and the burger was like $24. And I remember we literally turned around and walked out. And I don't know where
we did.
Yeah, I don't know where we ended up going to.
That's funny.
All right, so we go to the 2 p.m. show. We get out. We're hungry again. We are going to go get dinner at a steakhouse. Which steakhouse are we going to in New York City?
Gallagher's?
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gallagher's Steakhouse. For appetizers across the board, I pretty much picked a seafood appetizer.
Sweet.
So we're going to go with the shrimp and lobster dumplings here.
That sounds amazing.
It sounds so good.
I want those.
Let's make those at home.
Okay.
I don't even know what's in them, but I could see like maybe you dip them in like a cream sauce or something, like maybe an Alfredo even. Shrimp and Alfredo go good together. Lobster would too.
Yeah.
So $18 up from $15. For the entrees, filet mignon, 10 ounces. This is up to $53 from the previous $47. Went with a steak and a fish dish for each of the dinners. So the Faroe Islands salmon grilled or broiled, $36.
Okay.
The previous grilled tuna steak was no longer on the menu, but it was also $36 back then.
Ooh. So not really messing, like
No change there. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you have to do a lot of times at fancy steakhouses? Because what do their steaks not come with?
Nothing. You
Right.
have to add everything on.
So what are we going to get?
Well, we are going to go ahead and get some Brussels sprouts. Love them. They are actually still the same price, $15.
Yeah. And then what are the kids going to eat? And I tried to keep these pretty level across the board, but you'll see some variance. So I tried to keep pricing close.
Yeah, they love that.
Yeah.
So it actually did not change either. Still $23.
And what else didn't change that they wanted for a side item?
A baked potato
There you
for
go.
$10.
All right.
Didn't change.
Drinks for dinner, you're going to continue with your wine, but I decide for some odd reason, I feel I got these backwards, to be honest, from 2 years ago. I should have had the liquor drink at dinner. And then I should have had the beer, which is what I selected at lunch. But your Pinot Grigio is up $3. It's now $16. My beer is up $3. It's now $13. The total for that meal is $238.46. It's up a pretty good amount. I mean, $50 from previous.
Wow.
So let's get down to our cost per hour. This overall event, and I understand that you're going to do other things in New York City while you're there. You know,
you can walk around.
I get it. If we really wanted, we could almost divide this, by 24 hours, but we want to get specific to that event. The only reason you went to New York was to see The Lion King on Broadway.
Yeah.
And let's just say that literally you showed up at noon, you ate, you saw the show at 2, you ate dinner at 6, you went back to the hotel to relax and go to bed, and you flew out the next morning. That's kind of how these scenarios are going to be. Come in one morning, go out the next. What time did you spend doing the event plus your 2 meals? 4.25 hours.
Okay.
The total cost for this trip to New York is $1,910.89. Previously, $1,640.
Okay.
That is a 16.45% increase in 2 years. So about 5% over the national average. Final, $449.62 per hour is your cost.
Okay.
Right? And that's up from $386. That, again, is a 16.45% increase.
Wow.
All right. Where are we off to next, Rhonda? What are we doing there? And where are we staying?
We are going to Vegas, and we're going to see a show instead of gamble, and we're going to see the Blue Man Group.
Yeah, this cost could be 10 times as much if you're gambling.
Yep.
So again, gambling aside, you're just there for Blue Man Group. You flew in, you get yourself some lunch, you go to the show, you go to dinner, you go to bed, you go home.
Yep.
Where are we staying?
We're going to go ahead and stay at the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino,
we've
of course.
never stayed there.
No.
Did we? I don't think so.
No, but we went through it.
Yeah, we've been through it. So you're going to get a grand 2-queen room for $639.47.
View of the Strip.
View of the Strip. I don't know what was happening 2 years ago, but that same room was $248.
Ooh-wee.
So almost $400 more.
Wow, that's crazy. Did they do stuff in the MGM?
I really don't know what that is about.
That's crazy.
Parking is $15. It was $15 2 years ago, so not bad. So we're going to go see the Blue Man Group at 5 p.m. Last time we had to see it at 7 p.m. I had to pick what was available.
Okay.
Again, we're going to do orchestra seating, so very similar to the Broadway show. And your 4 tickets, which is very surprising, is $589.10.
It was down?
It was $669 before.
Huh. That's surprising.
This is a 105-minute show. Where are we going to eat, Rhonda? We're already at MGM. This seems like a good selection.
We're going to go to the Tap at MGM.
And what are we getting for our appetizer?
Pretzel and cheese. Oh my goodness. It was $10. It is now $17.
Yeah. This is all over the place. Wait till you see these. Okay. So for entrees, we're going to do a cheesesteak, and that's going to be $19. Last time we did a tap chop, which was $14. Then there's going to be burger and fries for $17. They used to have a pepper jack burger that was $21. So that actually went down in cost.
Wow.
If you're comparing. Then the kids are going to eat chicken fingers and fries for $19. These were not on the menu before because they got the triple play sliders. They're not on the menu now for $14.
Okay.
Your Pinot Grigio went up $1 to $11. My Manhattan stayed the same at $15.
Nice.
Overall, $125.65, and previously was $109.12. Not horrible.
No.
Lunch is expensive though when you go to places.
I feel like everything now is like, it's always $100. Everything's $100. It used to be $10. Now everything's $100.
It is. I forget that what that was you said about that. I mean, shoot, even you just going grocery shopping this morning, you were like, I only need a couple things, $90 some. It's going to be $100. Step foot in Publix, it's going to be $100 almost.
Yeah, yeah.
It's insane.
And I got everything on sale except the Nutella.
Oh, yeah. Well, Nutella's expensive, man.
I
would like to look at the cost of Nutella to you. But how much is a jar of peanut butter the same size?
I don't know.
Hazelnuts are expensive. So for dinner, we're going to go to the Delmonico Steakhouse at the Venetian.
Ooh, the Venetian's so pretty. I love the Venetian.
Yes.
Are we going to take a boat ride?
Didn't we ate it? We ate at this steakhouse, I think, didn't we?
No, we ate at the one in, oh goodness.
We got the steak that fed 4.
Yeah.
And it was like $120
yeah,
steak.
but it was on the opposite side of the Venetian, and it was the
Oh yeah. It's the pirate place.
Yep.
I can't remember what that steakhouse. You remember? Yep. Remember we went and there was another couple with us, and literally I think it was like $120 like ridiculously sized steak, like I don't know 24, 30-ounce steak or something that we all sat and ate, and you just literally just plopped it in the middle of you, and you all got your knife and fork.
It was good.
It was really good. In a very unassuming steakhouse. It was very like old Vegas feel. So anyway, what are we getting for the appetizer, which I think sounds absolutely delicious, and the cost might be very surprising to you.
We are getting some New Orleans barbecue shrimp, and it was $20. Now it is $28.
Yeah. You know, I wonder how many shrimp it comes with, because you know I like to break down how much each individual shrimp costs.
Not only that, but I wonder how big they are.
See, I wasn't even going to go there.
Uh-huh.
I'm not even talking about Disney at this moment.
You were.
And you're going to bring up the boathouse and their measly shrimp.
I didn't say the boathouse. I just said I wonder how big they are.
All right, we're going to go ahead for entrees and do the 9-ounce filet mignon because we're fancy. That is up $6. It is now $60. We're going to do the Chilean sea bass.
That sounds good.
I can't hear the word sea bass without laughing at Dumb and Dumber. That is up $3. It is now $53. Get a side of Brussels sprouts like we needed to do, $15. That's up $4 from $11. And then the kids are going to do fried chicken. They no longer have their herb marinated chicken breast. That's $38, and the chicken was $38.
Okay.
So it seems like we're kind of finding out a little bit. Regular chicken costs pretty close.
Yeah.
Chicken wings, shortage. Probably not. You're getting your Pinot Grigio. This is up a whopping $6.
Wow.
Used to be $10, now $16. The beer is the same price at $10.
Okay.
So we are now at a total for dinner, $286.84.
Wow.
Only up $36 from the previous year at $250. So not a huge increase really on dinner.
No.
Our overall event, 3.66 hours at a cost of $1,641.06. That is up from $1,277, giving us a 28.41% increase.
Woohoo.
So that's
a lot.
Almost triple now the national average over this 2-year period. The final comes down to $448.38 per hour. That is up almost exactly $100 per hour from 2 years prior.
Wow.
So that is a 28.76% increase.
Wow.
I'm going to let you take over a little bit on this next one, Rhonda, because this is on the list all because of you. So talk about it.
It's my
Go
favorite.
For it.
It's Breckenridge in Colorado. I've been here before. I do not believe he got the same stuff that we have been to. Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it's comparable to the exact same we did 2 years ago.
Yeah, but these aren't where we stayed, was it?
No, I've never been to Breckenridge.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, with my mom and dad, I didn't know if you asked
no, I have
them,
no clue. No, I have no clue where they stay. I looked up a place to stay.
Okay, well, we're staying at one ski hill place, and it's a studio condominium, which is funny because that's where we kind of stayed before, as like a condo.
Really? Like a condo, yeah.
Like somebody's, I guess, yeah, and then it was a ski in and ski out.
My guess is they're probably kind of like, and there's a lot of them in Orlando as well, is they're like kind of like a timeshare.
Yeah.
In a sense, but you own it. And then you kind of, rent it out and stuff. I don't know if that's how this is done or what, but
I don't either. But
looked like a cool place, so I picked it.
It is $418 though for one night, which
Yeah.
is up almost $200. It was $288,
Yeah.
but parking is included.
Well, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not driving in Colorado. I have to
Nah.
get like a big 4-wheel truck. or
Well, yeah, if you fly into Colorado, then you have to rent a car to
something. Right.
drive to Breckenridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So
What event are we doing? What kind of thing are we
well,
doing?
we're going to ski, of course.
Of course. Yes.
So ski tickets for one day is $372, and this is for 4 people. And it is actually down from $392, which is kind of surprising.
So they're already trying to off balance their huge increase in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like, yeah.
Your ski rentals, your ski boots, if you wear a helmet, which
Safety first.
yeah, I guess so.
They had a package. You could select or not select helmet.
Okay.
I selected helmet because if we go on this, I'm going to be falling over a lot.
So, this is actually down as well as $467, whereas it was $488. And this is 6 hours of skiing, which
Does that sound about right? I mean, this
Yeah,
is what we did 2 years ago, so I kept it
that's
the
a
same.
lot. It's
Okay.
a lot of skiing. I mean, you're exhausted then by the end of the day. You want to go
But
sit in a hot
Can
tub.
you break it up though? Like, let's just say, let's say we did.
Yeah.
We did 3 hours in the morning.
Well, especially
then
if
we
you're
went to lunch.
yeah, well, yeah,
came
and
back, did 3.
especially if where we're staying, one ski hill is actually like a ski in and ski out,
Okay.
which a lot of them are. I feel like in
That's pretty
Breckenridge,
cool.
it is. It's really cool.
You know that I'd like to say when we do go to Colorado to go skiing, you do know that I probably will not ski, correct?
No, you're gonna ski.
I think
We're gonna
man,
ski.
I feel like it'd just be a giant, colossal waste of money on me.
Well,
But we'll see.
maybe, but you could do some bunny hills, and skiing in Colorado is so different than if you were in wherever, Baltimore.
But I've never skied
Not
in
that
my
you
life.
skied
I've
in
never skied or
Baltimore,
snowboard. I sled a lot. I was very good at sledding. Okay, so we did 3 hours in the morning. We need a break. Where are we eating lunch, and what are we eating?
Robbie's Tavern, and we're gonna have pretzel knots as an appetizer.
We literally I
Tired
want
of
pretzels.
pretzels,
I'm
man.
not. I want pretzels so bad because we're not actually physically eating them. We have some Trader Joe's ones in the
We
freezer
do?
that every time I open the freezer, I look at them and they just mock me.
Oh,
I maybe we'll get one at Disney this.
I
This
just started
weekend.
to say we'll have some good treats this
That's
weekend.
like a little baseline tap house. All right, so pretzel knots. Let's talk price on everything here because it's
Only up
it's
$1.
pretty much $1 across the board for the most part, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, but what about
Yep.
our entrees?
I got a crispy Cobb salad for $17. You got a Spitfire burger for $17.50, and the girls got a Sunny pizza.
Yeah, and each of those 3 items is up $1 from 2
Yep.
years prior.
And the
so
Sunny
that's-
pizza was
that's really good.
$15.
Yeah. Drinks, you got a Pinot Gris because there was not a Pinot Grigio.
Right.
And
I've
this is
done
pretty
that before.
comparable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So $14 used to be 12. My Grand Mule, again, I was trying to keep mules anytime I could. If there's anything else, they didn't have them for whatever silly reason. $14 used to be 11. So what is our total all-in price for this lunch?
$114.04, and
$100.
it was $98.78, so under $100.
Yeah. All right, dinner. We are going to head to Salt Creek Steakhouse.
After we ski another 3 hours,
Ski another 3 hours.
you're gonna eat, and then you're gonna be like, "I'm out. I'm out."
And then I'm like, I'm done. I need something to eat. And you know what I'm getting out in the middle of a completely landlocked state is crab cakes.
Uh-oh.
But we're
I
getting a
hope they're
seafood
good.
dish. $19 used to be $17. Huge difference in our entree in the 8-ounce filet mignon. 2 years ago, this thing was $44. It is now $58.
Woo.
2 years ago, got the barramundi fish. No longer on the menu,
Okay.
but there is a Rocky Mountain trout. Barramundi, $29. This is up $10 to $39.
Ooh.
Another pretty significant increase there.
Yeah.
Then the girls last time got a barbecue pork plate, $21. Not on the menu, so they stayed barbecue, went with a half rack rib plate for $27.
Nice.
Your drink, your Pinot Grigio, is up from $8 to $11, and my beer's up from $9 to $11.
Okay.
Our total for dinner, $213.84. That is up from $158.05.
Ooh wee.
So, cost per hour. Because we did 6 full hours of skiing, We had lunch. We had dinner. We're at 7.92 hours for what we're calling our event. Your total cost is $1,584.96. That is not up a ton from previously, which was $1,425. So 11.17 increase.
That's not bad.
Exactly on the national average of inflation.
Nice.
Your final is $200.12 per hour. Now that's up from 180, but again, that's an 11.17 increase.
Okay.
So Breckenridge is right on point with where things really should be.
Awesome.
All right. Where are we going next?
We're going to go out to the beach in that blue, pretty water down in Key West.
Yeah. Well, let's get to first where we're going to stay, because we are in the southernmost city in the United States. So where else should we stay?
We're going to stay at the southernmost beach resort.
There you go.
We're going to get a deluxe 2 queen. And this is at $698.96, which is up from $541.30.
This place looks beautiful, by the way, and it's like right on the
really?
water. Yeah, this place looks deluxe.
Nice.
So,
and then your parking was $28 2 years ago. Now it is $35.
Okay.
So, and the outing. What are we going to do in Key West? What else would we do?
Well, we are going to snorkel.
Yeah.
Which I mentally and physically can't do.
Yeah,
I can't be submerged underwater while breathing normally.
It's not submerged. That's called diving.
No, I'm sorry, but your whole head is still underwater. I know the snorkel's above water, but you know what I mean? Like
not your whole head, like the back of your head.
I tried it, and I can't like figure it out.
I like to dive more.
Yeah. So we're gonna snorkel in the afternoon. This is going to be at 1 p.m. For 3 hours. Now, 2 years ago, it was 3.5 hours.
Okay.
So we're going to adjust that time at the end. And this is going to cost for the four of us $182.52.
Okay.
Used to be $170.
Not bad.
Not a huge increase.
Yeah.
Now, we're at Southernmost Beach Resort, Rhonda. Where do you think we should have lunch?
The Southernmost Beach Cafe.
And if you're in Key West,
oh yeah,
what are you getting for your appetizer?
Conch fritters.
Yeah, I love a good conch fritter.
I do too.
Yeah.
Very good. It is up from 12 to now 16.
Okay. So little price hop there. And again, we're going to see something fairly similar across the board with your classic Caesar salad at $15. 2 years ago, they had a West Coast salad at $12. I'm going to get the Somo burger for $19. 2 years ago, it was the brunch burger at $16. Spiced crispy chicken sandwich for the girls at $19. 2 years ago, it was chicken soft tacos.
Which they really
for
wouldn't
$14.
eat that because it's spicy.
No, they would not. We could probably get them not to spice it. I'm sure they're tossing it in a sauce or something probably. Pinot Grigio went from $9 to $10. And if you are anywhere that borders like the Caribbean or a Caribbean place or Key West, whatever, you get a Pusser's painkiller. It's Pusser's rum painkiller. If you are in any sort of pain, it will kill it. Trust me. $14 used to be $10.
Not bad.
When, I'll go ahead real quick. $119.98 total. That's up from $94.16. So, $26 increase over 2 years. I probably shared the story before when I quote unquote won the trip to the British Virgin Islands.
Oh yes.
That my buddy gave me from the radio station. I had to pay taxes and all on it, but the trip was free because nobody else would take it because people don't realize you have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember if it was 3 nights. It might have been or 3 day, 2 nights, 4 day, 3 nights, something like that. Fully covered trip. I think cost me $600 out of pocket. All food was covered, room, travel, everything. And we went to, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the island now, but it's actually owned by Pusser's or Jose Cuervo and Red Stripe, who I think also have something to do with Pusser's rum. And that's where I first learned about painkillers, was at the bar there. But because it was sponsored by Jose Cuervo, who basically rents this island out and stuff for these contests several times a year, we would get to breakfast at like 9 a.m. and there were handles of Jose Cuervo sitting on the table.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not a tequila drinker, but there would be people at breakfast, 8, 9 a.m., getting our full breakfast, and they're pouring shots of tequila and doing them.
Thank you.
It was something. It was a cool trip, though. It was a really, really cool trip. All right, where are we heading for our fancy pants dinner? Now, this is not technically a steakhouse. It is a what house?
It is a lobster house. Come on,
Yes.
man. We're in the Keys.
You got to.
This is A&B Lobster House.
Yeah.
So for our appetizers, we are going to do some oysters Rockefeller. And I'm assuming they're 12, maybe 6.
I don't know. It did not list. My guess is they're coming in 6s.
I just started to say because for $16, what was 2 years ago, now 18, I would guess.
Yeah, I think
6.
they usually come by the half dozen. We're sticking with our filet mignon for our entree. Used to be 57. It's up to 62. This is a big jump. The grilled grouper, again, A&B Lobster House has not changed their menu. But it looks like a real old school place where I bet that it's probably like the menu from opening day or something.
That's
you know
cool.
what I mean? Like 100 years ago or something. So the grilled grouper was 39. It's now up to 47.
Ooh.
But you know it's going to be fresh.
Yes.
And then shrimp fettuccine for the girls. Even at 36.
Yep.
Stayed the same.
Nice.
Your Pinot Grigio went up $1 from 10 to 11, and my beer went down $1 from 10 to 9.
Wow.
Look at that. In most of these cases, I was looking at a beer similar to like a Blue Moon or some sort of Belgian or wheat beer. So our total for this dinner is $236.08. That is up $20 from 2 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
So originally this was a 5.42 hour event.
Okay.
But because the snorkeling is shorter now, it's 4.92 hours. This is at a total of $1,237.54. Used to be $1,022. That's a 21.06% increase.
Wow.
So again, more than double the national average. Our final breaks down to $251.53 per hour. That's up a lot from the previous 188, which comes out to a 33.37% increase.
Wow.
Next, can I kick this one off
Of
with
course.
where we're going and what we're doing?
Absolutely.
Well, we're heading back to not far from where I grew up, and we're going to Washington, D.C. Now, 2 years ago, we were headed to Washington, D.C. to Nationals Park to see the Hella Mega Tour with Weezer, Fall Out Boy, Green Day, and then they had a fourth band as an opener.
Wow.
Which I would have absolutely loved.
Yeah, right.
Loved to see that show.
Yeah.
That obviously is not occurring this year. It was a tour that year. So who are we going to see instead in the stadium tour? And anyone our age is going to be like, wait, what? Because I didn't know this was going on. They're going to be like, I got to look this up right now. It's coming to Orlando for anybody, any of our Orlando locals. I don't know where it's at. It's probably at the Camping World Stadium would be my guess.
Okay.
But who is it on the stadium tour?
We've got Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett.
That's an 80s lineup if I've ever heard of one.
100%.
That would be really cool.
That would.
All right, so we're at Nationals Park. This is a 4:30 p.m. concert. The Hella Mega Tour was at 6, but went ahead and looked at the exact same Tier 4 field seats. So exact same ones as Hella Mega Tour. Hella Mega Tour was actually $983.90. It makes sense for those 4 tickets because, well, first of all, it doesn't make sense. Concerts are ridiculously expensive now.
Yeah.
Absolutely absurd. This show is $837.10 for your 4 tickets.
Okay.
I picked the same tier. Would you like to know what the upfront VIP tickets cost for this? Each?
Sure.
$750.
Man.
I don't know if like Tommy Lee allows you to come and like drum for him or something, but at that price, I just absolutely insane. We're going to clock this in at 180 minutes, 3 hours. That's going to be a pretty good time for these bands to make their way through. I think because they're all kind of headlining bands, they're probably not, I don't think Motley Crue's, and I could be wrong. I don't know that they're playing over an hour. It's probably like Joan Jett gets her 30. You move up to Poison to get their 45
You don't think this is like
maybe or so. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to even it all out.
Okay.
I mean, Motley Crue, I feel like is probably the headliner, only probably recently because of the whole, Tommy and Pam story being brought to life on Hulu, which was an absolutely incredible series. Let's talk lunch, Rhonda, because I know
did you
you're
say
so
how
excited.
much parking was? Because
no, there is an add-on for parking. I did not include it there. I'm sorry. Actually, we need to move to the hotel. I jumped straight ahead on that one because I was so excited. We could talk about like Motley Crue and Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett. So where are we staying, Rhonda?
Well,
and this is probably on our lower hotel chain, but you're going to see the price is pretty equal with what we've been looking at.
All right. Well, we're going to stay at the Hampton Inn and Suites in Washington, D.C. Navy Yard.
Yeah.
And we getting 2 queen beds, non-smoking, for $495.44, where it was $286. That's a huge jump.
Well, I'll say this in the first place. Even at a Hampton Inn and Suites, I don't know how they ever got away with only charging $286 in DC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's actually shocking. Again, if you tend to not like Disney parking, you are welcome to go stay at a hotel in Washington, D.C.
Parking was $45 and now it's $55.
Yes. All right. Now we're ready for lunch. Okay. Sorry about skipping around there, guys. Where are we going to eat? And nobody will believe like what we're eating.
We're going to eat at the Blue Jacket Brewery.
Okay.
And then, of course, a jumbo everything pretzel, which I would not be
I was just
partaking
going to ask,
in.
you don't like everything seasoning?
Nope.
Oh my God. It is my second combination of like a seasoning behind Old Bay. Easy.
Well.
Oh, I love an everything. There's nothing better than an everything bagel with like bacon, egg, fried egg and cheese.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I want an everything pretzel.
Okay. Well, it did go up $2.
Okay.
And then we got it my farmstead salad for $16.50. That was $14. You got your big train burger that only went up 50 cents.
Yeah.
So to $17.50. And the girls got a fried chicken sandwich that only went up 50 cents to $16.50.
Yeah.
Got my Pinot Gris, which only went up $1, so it's $11. And Jeremy got his Moscow Mule, which is $12. And last year you got 2 years ago, Kentucky Lucky, same price.
Yeah, so that did not go up on the liquor there, which is pretty good. Total $115 and 80 cents, which was only up a little bit, about $7 from 2 years prior at $106.92.
Not bad.
So DC prices looking fairly good for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Not so
How's
sure
dinner?
I can say the same about dinner.
Uh-oh.
We're going to go to the Charlie Palmer Steakhouse.
All
All right, our appetizer, we're going to stick with a shrimp cocktail for $28.
Wow.
For some reason, they got rid of their blue crab cocktail from 2 years ago, which was only $19.
Oh,
I would have been
sad.
eating that.
Yeah.
All right, our filet mignon was $48. It is now $55. The line-caught swordfish for $36 is no longer on the menu. So going to dine on a pan-seared Atlantic halibut.
Okay.
And I picked that one just for the halibut. Then we're going to move on to a cream spinach. And since I went through this, I was like, I'm going to work in that joke. I think it's a funny one.
You're
All right,
funny.
cream spinach, same price at $12. The girls last time were getting the truffle roasted Joyce Farms Poulet Rouge for $29. Not on the menu, so they're going to go for the half roasted chicken, which is actually $28. So we're going to save $1 there.
Yeah.
Your Riesling, no Pinots of any kind here, Rhonda.
Oh,
Stayed the same at $12.
Rieslings are sweet.
Remember, that used to be all we drank as far as
That's
wine when it
crazy.
first started. If you, though, have an opportunity, if you like wine, even if you don't like wine, and you don't mind sweetness in your alcoholic beverage, San Sebastian Winery,
Yeah.
their
super
Vintner's
good.
Red
Yep.
or their Vintner's White is absolutely
Yep.
delicious.
Yep.
Beer, surprisingly, used to be $10, is now $7.50. It dropped in price.
Wow. That's impressive.
So total for dinner, we're looking at all our dinners are pretty much around the same price, $230 to $250. This is $243.64, up from $219.12.
Okay.
The total of this is 4.92 hours at a cost of $1,691.98. Up up what? $100 from
Almost $100,
$1,596. Only a 6%
Wow.
increase. So pretty good. I think it ends up being our lowest one. The final, though, $343.90 per hour, up from $324.42, and that's a 6% increase.
Okay.
This next one, we still worked it into the finals in the numbers, but
Right.
it is very, very different in one aspect. Originally, because of the way I was planning ahead, originally we chose actually a December 2019 football game, NFL football game. And we had picked the Arizona Cardinals versus the Cleveland Browns in Arizona. And there are no ticket prices for upcoming football season. I have to go and look out to like August or September of 2022. Yeah, 2022. Nothing is listed. Nothing's on sale. So I could not get an accurate price.
Okay.
So what we did is I want to stay in Arizona. So we swapped it for a baseball game.
Okay.
And this is going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Minnesota Twins. This is actually June 17th, 2020. So that's why I priced out hotel and all.
You mean 2022?
I'm sorry, 2022. Yes. Really still don't know what year it is, to be honest. We're going to stay at the Renaissance Phoenix Glendale Hotel and Spa. 2 double beds.
What's with these double beds, man?
I know. But remember, isn't double beds what's in Dolphin? Queen is what's in Swan. There's double beds in Dolphin, and that was after a refurb, not
that's
that
true.
long ago.
That's true.
So $582.20 a night. That's up well over $100 from 2 years ago. Parking has stayed the same at $15. So here's where the major difference is going to be. And we can I'm still going to put this in our final rankings and numbers because maybe you go, hey, maybe if I'm going to take my family to see a professional sports game, I go to baseball instead of football. Because at Chase Field, 6:40 p.m. game, we're going to do a dugout box, section in, row 13. What I did is I actually found the absolute most expensive ticket. Still, for 4 tickets, it came out to $508.
Not bad.
The previous price of 4 tickets in about 2 sections back for the Arizona Cardinals at State Farm Stadium was $1,717.
Whoo-wee.
That's absolutely insane. It's $425 a ticket.
Yeah, that's
insane.
crazy.
Now, we're going to go ahead and keep it at 200 minutes. It's a little over 3
just heard you
hours
say
for both a football and a baseball
Is it?
game.
Oh, okay, because
pretty
baseball
similar.
can go longer.
Yeah, and then I looked, I was like, well, I could look at basketball, but they're in the playoffs now, so you couldn't really tell pricing on that. Plus, the game isn't going to be quite as long. So, all right, where are we heading to lunch? And have you ever been to one of these? This is a national chain. They're pretty
Yard
big.
House?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Nope. Have you?
Alan took me in D.C. when I visited him one time, or in Bethesda. He took me one time. That's the only time I've been to one.
All
I
right.
don't know if we have one near here.
I have no idea.
Or if there's one in Orlando. Man, what should we get for an appetizer?
A Bavarian jumbo pretzel.
You can see why I picked soft pretzels for the appetizer, right?
Sure.
Because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Apparently.
yeah.
And this only went up like 4 cents.
Yeah, 4 cents.
From $10.95 to $10.99.
Wow.
And then of course I'm gonna get a chicken Cobb salad that was $11.25 and now it's $13.99.
Would you go, if you had an option, would you go fried chicken or grilled chicken? All current
Grilled.
lifestyle changes aside.
Oh, fried.
Yeah, okay. I thought so. All right. What am I eating?
You're gonna eat a pepper jack burger that was $13.95 and now it's $14.49. And the girls are gonna get a cheese pizza that was $14.25 and now it's $14.99.
I'll have to show you a Yard House menu after this because I don't know if they're like in a direct competition with Cheesecake Factory on who has the most menu items at a restaurant, but I feel like they're pretty stinking close.
Oh wow.
My Aranis Pinot Gris is up from $9.50 to $11. Not a huge spike. My Moscow Mule went from $10.50 to $10.79, which is the most random price I've ever seen.
That is weird.
Our total, Rhonda, is not $100.
Woohoo!
It's $99.37.
It was
up.
92.
Yeah, so not
That's
a big
bad.
jump. All right. Where are we having our fancy pants steakhouse dinner that night?
Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar.
And what is our seafood related appetizer that I really want to eat?
Sweet chili calamari. It's only up $1, which is $19.
Yeah, and then again, talk about menus that haven't changed at all. This is another one. Same with
really?
Yard House. Yeah, I mean, we didn't have to swap any items.
Nice.
In fact, there's a petite 8-ounce filet mignon went from $47 to $51. There's a miso glazed Chilean sea bass went from $47 to $48.
Not bad.
That's one of our lowest jumps,
Yeah.
I feel like, for fish.
I agree.
And then cream spinach, of course, on the side went from $12 to $13. And the kids are getting the double breast of chicken, which went up only $1 from $38 to $39.
Okay.
One of the biggest hikes here really was your Pinot Grigio, went from $7 to $13. And my beer stayed the same at $7, which $7 for a beer at a restaurant at a steakhouse is really cheap.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's $9 beer night. So total for dinner is $247.61. That went up from $230.62. You know what that quote's from, right? 40-Year-Old Virgin. And
Okay.
like, boy,
Yeah,
this place
that's
is
right.
packed. And Paul Rudd's like, yeah, because it's $9 beer night. Like it's a deal.
Yeah.
Like that's their deal is $9 beers. All right, so we have spent a total now of 5.25 hours for our baseball game event.
Okay.
$1,437.18. But listen, it used to be, and I know we're not comparing apples to apples here. This is very apples to oranges.
Yeah.
The football game was $2,510. If
That's
you had
crazy.
gone 2 years ago to this football game, and this year you decided to go to the baseball game, your vacation in total cost would have decreased by 42.76%.
Ooh, maybe we should do that.
Your hourly cost comes down to $273.75 per hour, down from $478.28. So 42.76 decrease overall.
Wow.
There really is nothing like a live baseball game.
Yeah, I've
There's
been-
something about
I mean,
because
well, it's been a long time.
Well, what I like about a baseball game, football, of course, is more fast paced. Basketball, you have to pretty much keep your eyes on
yeah.
the court 24/7. But a baseball game is relaxing, but you also get to like enjoy it. You know,
Yeah.
so batter's up, okay, and then he's out or gets a hit, gets on base, and you're like, I got a couple minutes to chill.
Yeah.
You know, and then you like talk with your people. So I do like baseball game. We should just go
To the
one
shrimp.
afternoon to the shrimp. Yeah, to Jacksonville. What is there? I can't remember what the other part of the shrimp is. I know, but it's something shrimp. I thought. I want to say buffalo shrimp.
Jumbo shrimp.
Jumbo shrimp. No, that's what it is. I think it's the Jacksonville jumbo shrimp. Yeah. All right. So now we're moving on to kind of the point of this whole episode where we're going to talk about not only Universal Orlando, but we're going to talk about Walt Disney World,
Okay.
which, again, I think both people will say these are very, very expensive places. You're
Right.
not wrong, but let's break it down by the actual value.
Okay.
So, same thing we did 2 years ago. Where are we staying at for Universal? Or obviously our event is going to the theme parks, but where are we staying at for Universal Orlando, where we have not stayed, but we have visited? Kat and Michael were there.
Yes, we're staying at Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort. We're going to get a standard 2-queen room that is now $679.50. That was $482.62.
Yeah. Now this again is using rack rate. This is not using Florida resident,
Right.
discount. This is not using annual pass holder discounts. Certainly those would play into effect if you were
Right.
really doing this, but I'm trying to keep things even. Parking is up from $25 to $28
Not
2
bad.
years ago. So, all right. Tickets. Okay. Express pass is included, right?
Yes.
And that's, again, I wanted to pick obviously a deluxe hotel,
Oh, yeah,
but Express pass is included.
which is fantastic.
I have no problem doing an update for the next episode, just, a real quick one beginning if people would like, where we pick just say Sapphire Falls and then add Express Pass and see where this ranks.
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to do. It literally
That's
just
true.
dawned on me now. 2 park, 1 day park to park ticket for your family of 4. We are counting these as 4 adults because we're including our children in it because they're, again, 10 and up.
Right.
$783.84. That was $755. That is not a huge
Not bad.
jump. $30. We are going to spend 8 hours total in the park.
Okay.
I know we could spend longer, but I'm thinking maybe you get there for rope drop, you take a break for lunch, you go do another 4 hours, you go ahead, break for dinner, you're a bit exhausted, you're going to go back and just enjoy your room before you fly out the next morning. We are going to break for lunch at where in City Walk?
Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville.
I hope they have pretzels, Rhonda.
They have pretzel sticks.
Yes.
For $11.95. That was $11.45.
Not a big jump.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get a fried chicken Cobb salad. That is just up $1 at $17.95.
I like how every time you say fried, you say it in like a thick Southern accent.
Oh,
You're always like, I'm
sorry.
going to get a fried.
Sorry.
It's like when Gianna De Laurentiis says Italian words and completely breaks like her regular English speaking accent and goes straight Italian on it. That's you with Southern words. What am I eating?
A cheeseburger in paradise.
Registered trademark by Jimmy Buffett.
Oh,
Throwing that out there. I don't want anyone coming after us like his. Oh, by the way, Jimmy Buffett's registered trademark, Margaritaville registered trademark. just I want to put that out there. Okay, I don't want to get in trouble with legal.
that did not price change at all.
Wow.
The girls are gonna split a grilled chicken sandwich that was only $1 higher at $15.95.
And then we're gonna get the Who's to Blame registered trademark margarita, and that's up $1.50 to $13.50. You're getting your Pinot Gris. That is up $2 to $11.
Okay.
As always, our lunch total is $110.29, up from $102.62.
Not bad.
What I really do like about this is that for the most part, all the restaurants are on a very even playing field.
Yeah.
Throughout. Most of our meals for lunch have been between $95 and $115, and
It's
most
true.
of our dinners have ended up being between just say $230 to $250. This one's a little more expensive, but I've heard very, very good things about this place, and it would be nice to go one time. Where are we going to eat at?
Oh, we're going to go to the Palm, which is at the Hard Rock Resort.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead for the appetizer. We're going to get our crispy calamari. This is actually up $4.50 to $19.50.
Oh.
The previously 9-ounce filet mignon is now an 8-ounce filet mignon. So you would think the price would go down. It did not.
It
It
went
did
up.
only go up $2.50 to
Yeah.
$56.50. Chilean sea bass filet, I'm going to laugh at sea bass, went down $1
That's funny.
to $48.
Huh.
Of course, we're going to get the creamed spinach on the side. Was $13.50. It's now $16. Girls are going to stick with the chicken dish and chicken parmigiana. Went up $1 to $37. Your Riesling jumped from $13 to $19
Holy
a
moly.
glass. And my beer went from $10 to $12.
Wow.
This has been one of our most, if not most expensive dinners so far at $265.82.
Wow.
Up from $243.46. We're not using our annual pass discount.
Oh, man.
But it would be nice too. So, because we're spending 8 hours in the park, which I think is very fair, 9.92 total hours is what we're looking at.
Okay.
So your vacation comes out to $1,739.45.
Okay.
Was $1,583. That's a 9.83% increase. So
Not
under
bad.
the national average.
Right.
It comes down to $175.34 per hour. Used to be $159.65. That's a 9.82% increase.
Okay.
So Universal's looking pretty good over 2-year time.
Yeah.
Let's see how Disney looks, Rhonda.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Where, in comparison, and I went strictly on theme, are we staying at Disney?
The Polynesian Village Resort.
Yeah.
Woohoo. We're going to get a standard view with 2 queens, and that is $779.63, whereas it was $659.25. And
Yeah.
your parking is $25.
And it actually was 2 years ago.
Nice.
So did not change. Now, because I know we went with a resort that included Express Pass, but because Express Pass is included for Universal, I wanted to include Genie Plus.
Okay.
And of course, you're going to pay for it. So what I priced out was a 1-day park hopper.
So you can go to
Now,
all
this
4
is
parks.
4 parks over Universal's 2. Again,
Yep.
we could certainly take that into consideration. Added Genie Plus to each person, which of course comes out to like $15.60 or something each.
Mhm.
And then I went ahead and said, you know what? Let's just price in buying 2 individual lightning lanes, one for Rise at its highest price and one for Seven Doors Mine Train at its highest price.
Okay.
So for the 4 tickets, this came out to $945.60. So almost $250 a person for a day. But
Right.
you're getting Genie Plus, you're getting your 2 paid attractions, and you're getting a park hopper. So
Right.
you technically could visit all 4 parks. You're probably not going to do it in 8 hours time. And
Right.
you can't hop till 2. That was $795.56 previously, but of course that wouldn't have included the extra cost of Genie Plus and Lightning Lane.
Right.
All right. We had to switch up our lunch. The 2 places, we had to switch up both places.
Okay.
And for lunch, ESPN Club is no longer there.
Right.
So went with what we feel is probably the most similar as a sports bar grill type of place with CityWorks Eatery and Poorhouse at Disney Springs. So we are at our 8th spot for lunch. ESPN Club had warm soft pretzels with cheese for $12. Are we 8 for 8 on these
Oh my
restaurants for lunch,
goodness.
offering some sort of
Mhm.
doughy, delicious, warm pretzel? What do we have at CityWorks?
We have pretzel bites for $11.
I'm so getting a soft pretzel this weekend.
Okay.
I'd like to get somewhere. I'd like to get it somewhere different though. We have to figure out if there's like a place, even if we just like sit at a bar or something and get one.
Okay.
So anyway, the bacon and blue wedge salad was what they had available at ESPN Club. So instead, we subbed that for the CityWorks chopped salad for $18. The bacon and blue wedge used to be $11 though.
Okay.
Both places shockingly have a thing called a smokehouse burger.
Wow.
Used to be $18, it's now $20. The girls are going to go now with their legendary and I guess often loved fried chicken breast sandwich. This used to be $16. It is now $18. Then if we move on to drinks, at ESPN Club, I had gotten a Millie's Mule for $13. Here it's a Kentucky Mule, and it is $15. And your Pinot Grigio went from $11 to $12. Not surprising to anyone, the total is $119.57. It used to be $103.51 back at ESPN Club for very similar.
Yeah, not
options.
bad.
All right, dinner. We originally did California Grill.
Mm-hmm.
California Grill is open, but they are doing their 50th celebration menu.
Okay.
And I didn't feel that it was going to be a good comparison. I didn't want to
Right.
use an old menu price. So basically, we thought in looking at the menu, originally I was going to go Topolino's Terrace, which I think is very, very similar. But in looking at the menus, I didn't feel that I could swap out like items.
Okay.
So where did we go to instead, Rhonda? And what did we kind of have to swap? And what are our prices here? And
Well,
this is one of our most recent favorites now.
Yeah, we went to Flying Fish. And for the appetizer, we got shrimp cocktail, which is $17. And what we had prior was the fire roasted Key West shrimp and mussels for $19.
So a little drop there.
Yeah. Not bad.
Oak fired filet of beef, which is one of my favorites ever at
it was
California
good.
Grill. Went ahead and had to substitute that with Flying Fish's filet mignon, which you had
It was so
$59.
good.
Same
Not bad.
price.
Yeah, not bad.
Instead of the black grouper at California Grill for $52, we drop in price with the Verlasso salmon for $48.
Okay.
And then getting into the girls, they do not have the Poulet Rouge chicken for $44, but went with the organic chicken for $38.
Yeah.
So we're actually dropping in price along the board. I know that doesn't mean that prices really have dropped. It just means that Flying Fish is probably a tad under California Grill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the really reason we drop prices. This wasn't a decrease in inflation as far as
Right.
Disney restaurants go.
Right.
But I still felt it was comparable. We're at $240.90 for our total, which is actually down $9 from $249.53
Well, you
2
didn't
years
tell
ago at
her.
California Grill.
Beer
I'm
and-
sorry. The Pinot Gris,
Yeah.
$13 previously, now $17. The beer was $8.25, now $9.50.
Yep.
Thank you. Our cost per hour, again, we're at 9.92 hours. The total cost for this 1 day, 1 night Disney vacation is $2,085.
Okay.
That is up from $1,807.85. This is a 15.3% price increase. Did not do as well as Universal on keeping costs a bit lower,
Nope.
but under 4% over the national average across the board. This comes out to $210.25 per hour, up from $182.24. That's, again, 15.36% price increase. What does this all mean, Rhonda?
I don't know. To me. I'm just kidding.
Here's how we were looking 2 years ago. As far as overall cost, your entire cost together, let's not worry about price per hour, your trip cost.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, the most expensive thing was the Cardinals game at over $2,500. The second most expensive was Disney World at over $1,800. Coming in at number 3 was the concert in DC for almost $1,600. And then finally in number 4, I'm not going to go through all 8. Number 4 was Universal at $1,583. So Universal and Disney fall in the top half 2 years ago as two of the more expensive ones, number 2 and number 4.
Right.
How does that relate to this year? We don't have the Cardinals game.
Right.
If we did, it would be number 1.
Yes.
Instead, Disney and Universal move up a notch. Disney is the most expensive at $2,085 as the most expensive single cost for your vacation.
Right.
Okay? Number 2 was the Broadway show in New York at $1,910. Number 3 now, Universal moves up $1,739, and the concert drops down to number 4 at $1,691. Your very cheapest, all in, is Key West at $1,237.
Okay.
So
let's go to Key
if
West.
you are looking
Just
at
kidding.
if you are looking at budget
Mm-hmm.
for a 1 day, 1 night trip, hotel, lunch, dinner, event, tickets, whatever it may be, and you say I have a $1,300 budget, you're going to Key West.
Right.
If you say I have a $2,000 budget, you're going to Disney.
Yeah.
And then everything in between. That's how most people look at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Which makes perfect sense. Most people don't say, well, what does it cost per hour? what our goal in this was to prove that Disney is not actually the most expensive, because any of these, if you went to, all right, we had a Broadway show, right? Or concert at 3
Right.
hours. If you went on a trip and went to 2 concerts
Mm-hmm.
that equaled 6 hours, it's still going to come out. It's going to come out in overall cost more than Disney. So our whole point in this was to prove that per value, where does Disney fall? If we go back 2 years ago, out of all 8, number 8, which was therefore the very best cost per hour, was Universal Orlando at $159.65.
Okay.
At number 6 was Disney at $182.24. So out of 8, Universal and Disney had one of the best values out
Right.
of all 8 locations. The worst, of course, was the Cardinals game. Coming in at number 2, for example, was Frozen on Broadway.
Right.
How does that rank today? Exactly the same.
Nice.
Coming in at number 8 today is Universal Orlando at $175.34. Disney World comes in at $210.25, taking up the 6th spot. The worst one right now is Broadway show at $449.62 per hour. Second
Wow.
is Blue Man Group, then the concert, baseball, snorkeling, skiing fit right in between Disney World and Universal.
Yeah.
So again, if you're looking at a budget for your family vacation, totally understandable. Disney is going to seem like most expensive day ever. But if you trade it for the value, it's not.
Yep.
So we did everything we could. Look, I'll be honest. I want Disney to come up as a good value.
Yeah.
Do you think Disney's getting too expensive?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, everything is. The grocery store is. The gas.
And that's the perfect thing, because this is what you could say. Here's ask me if I think Disney's getting too expensive.
Do you think Disney's getting too expensive?
Yes. Ask me if I think Disney's getting too expensive in comparison to all other vacation destinations.
Okay, you just asked your own
No,
question.
I do not. Because you're right. With everything going up,
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. And I love sometimes people will share on the Main Street Magic Community Facebook group. They'll be like, guys, I just went to a minor league baseball game.
Yeah.
And
I do too.
an 18-ounce beer was $24.
Yeah.
A hot dog was $16. Yeah. And so,
And let's be honest, nobody is going to any of these things and literally flying in and flying out.
right. No, they're
Like
not.
a lot of people are going to do a 2-3 day, nights or whatever. So
Yeah. And,
I would tend to think that would be more expensive.
right.
It would just keep adding up. And, I think Disney would still be
Yeah.
on that down.
And again, and it's all, I mean, it all comes down to just numbers and the way you do it. If you went to New York for 3 nights and you went to Disney for 3 nights and you're buying 2 full days of Disney park passes, but you're only going to 1 Broadway show, I
Mhm.
get it. Your overall vacation, numbers are going to change very, very much. But even the point of this, and the reason we read off all these menu items, we just don't go straight to the total. But, let's take Flying Fish, for example, at a grand cost of $240 and their filet mignon at $59. We can go right back up to, where were we, in Arizona, and that entire meal was $247 for
Mhm.
dinner. It was more. Now, the filet was a little bit cheaper, but it's $51. It's right on point. So a lot of the process of this as well is to show that even if all we do is compare food and drink,
Mhm.
they're almost the same across all 8 vacation destinations.
Yep.
So again, just, and obviously we love Disney.
Yeah.
Obviously we want you to go to Disney.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're thinking of going to Disney, you can hit up Chuck at mainstmagictravel.com. He
But
can
if you're
also book
thinking
any
of,
of these other
I just start to say, if you're
destinations.
thinking of going anywhere else,
And if you think, you know what, Disney is getting expensive, let's give our shot at going to a Broadway show.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let us know all about it.
I'm surprised you didn't do a cruise on here.
Yeah, we could certainly look at that. I mean, if you're looking at the Wish right now, you're looking at $3,600. But then you're going to have to literally, so then you'd have to break it down by day.
Right.
So even there, if you broke down, if you just even said the 3 nights, you're looking at $1,200 a night. And if you said, though, your cruise enjoyment is from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., that's 12 hours. You're looking at $100 an hour. It actually becomes the best value out of any of these.
Yeah.
And you don't have the additional food costs. Now, you could, of course, factor in drink costs for alcoholic beverages, but a cruise actually is going to be the overall best value.
Yep.
So,
and you can book that at mainstmagictravel.com.
You can. We're very excited to do our first DCL cruise in September. This came in under the time that I thought it would. I thought it was actually going to be a lot longer, but guys, thanks for sticking with it. If you're a numbers person, I hope you loved this. If you're not a numbers person, I hope you loved it. Certainly a lot of data there, but I'd been wanting to do this again for a while because it just interested me. And if you actually go to mainstreetshirts.com, we made up a design to kind of combat against the most expensive day ever.
Yes.
And we actually have a new design that says most worth it day ever.
Absolutely.
Because Disney's getting expensive. We don't like the hikes. We don't like what feels like nickel and diming, but it's happening everywhere. And for us, Disney is still that happy place that is 100% worth it. If we're going to be forced to pay more, at least we still feel it's worth it.
Yes.
And I think that's a very important argument as well. But we will be actually heading down to Disney on Sunday through Tuesday, which is going to be strange. We have our Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind preview on Monday for pass holders, which will be cool. So you can go ahead and keep in touch with us on that trip at Main ST Magic on social channels, Main Street Magic Community on Facebook, and of course, our Patreon group at wonderlandcrew.com. As long as you're online, hit subscribe, get brand new episodes like this. Well, not all like this. I could not do this every week. Tuesday and Friday. And as long as you're out there, we would be so very thankful if you would leave us a rating and review.
Because it'll help our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.